Hi, I'm Emma. One of my clients calls me the Mix Master of Accounting, and now QuickBooks wants to make a commercial about it. Oh, hi, small business client called Amara.
Can you import my tax and BAS data?
I can.
On any platform?
Yes, any platform with QuickBooks. Maybe I am a bit of a Mix Master.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Pro Power Hour from Leads to Loyal Clients edition, where we're going to take a look at planning and marketing for 2023. My name is Grant Chapman. I work in the advisor marketing team here, and I'm your host for today's session. It's great to have you join us. And before we begin, I'd just like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land on which we meet today, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, where I am here in Sydney, and pay my respects to their elders past, present, and emerging. In today's Pro Power Hour, we're going to look at how you can focus your marketing on attracting more of your ideal clients, give you some tips to generate more leads from your website, and importantly, really have a look at how you can get more referrals from existing clients. Before we jump in, though, a little bit about us. So I'm sure that everyone on the call today is aware of Intuit's flagship product, QuickBooks Online, given that it's trusted by more than 7 million QuickBooks customers and supported by more than 300,000 accountants and bookkeepers all around the world. And I hope that most of you are aware of the functionality in QuickBooks Online Accountant that helps smaller accounting and bookkeeping firms to manage their clients, keep on top of their workflows, and helps with tracking your time and billing. QuickBooks Online Accountant is at the heart of the QuickBooks suite and has a whole host of features to help you automate manual and repetitive tasks, to manage your work, and to build those workflows for your team. On the compliance front, QuickBooks Tax, powered by Logic, is a really powerful online tool to help you manage your tax and BAS preparation and lodgement needs. And of course, another key part of the QuickBooks suite is QuickBooks Payroll, powered by KeyPay. Beyond ensuring that your single-touch payroll obligations are met, QuickBooks Payroll updates and applies modern awards according to the latest Fair Work Australia conditions. That means it's never been easier to know that your clients are staying compliant. Like I say, today we're going to dig into a really key pain point for accountants and bookkeepers, and that is marketing. Everyone knows that if they want to attract new clients, it's something that they need to find time for. It's also a really important tool to generate more revenue from your existing clients and to retain those clients. And today you're going to hear from a couple of experts who specialize in working with advisors like you as they share their tips and some tools that you can use to plan your marketing efforts for this year. Before we get started though, let me take you through a bit of housekeeping. So today's event is being recorded, so we're going to provide everyone who's registered with a copy via email. So watch out for that email in your inbox. It's going to let you review all of the content that you see today. It's got some important links to some tools, templates, and other documents that the team are going to share with you today. And you can also share it, of course, with your other team members. If you're having any technical difficulties with not being able to see or hear the presentation, we'd suggest you restart your device, refresh your browser, or try a different device. You can also navigate to the troubleshooting guide that's located at the bottom of the page there, and you'll find a link to an alternative video browser. Again, you are going to receive a recording of the session today, so while it's not quite as good as the live thing, you won't miss a thing. And of course, we will have a Q&A session at the end of today's webinar, so feel free to start adding your questions now using the Slido box that's in the bottom of your screen there. You may need to just scroll down a little. You'll also find some polls that we're going to be running today where we'll be soliciting some of your feedback. Right, now that today's housekeeping is out of the way, let's jump into some introductions. Today, you're going to hear from two members of the team at Bizink. Now, Bizink create websites and digital marketing tools, content like blogs or social media posts. Unlike other agencies, though, they're really focused on working pretty much exclusively with accountants and bookkeepers and have a really deep understanding of the goals of accounting and bookkeeping firms, of their clients, and of the profession. So we've got Matt Wilkinson here presenting, and he's one of the founders, and he's also the CEO of Bizink. And for more than a decade, Matt has been working with accountants and bookkeepers to help them be recognised as what they really are, which is the hero to small business owners. We also have Anthea Major here from the team, and Anthea is the head of growth for Bizink's sales and marketing team. So in addition to spreading the word about Bizink, Anthea works really closely with Bizink's clients and with industry partners to understand the needs and goals that they have in growing their businesses. So Anthea has written close to 200 marketing plans for accountants and bookkeepers, and today she's going to take you through some of the good, the bad, and the ugly of what she's learned. Okay, I'm going to be back after their session, but for now, I'm going to hand over to you, Matt and Anthea. Thanks.
Thanks, Grant, for the introduction, and welcome everyone today. Thanks for coming along, and thanks to Intuit for inviting us to this session. We'll do some proper introductions in just a second, but keen to test out that Q&A. I'm dialing in from the South Island of New Zealand. I'd love to know where you are, so maybe you can fire that into the Q&A window, which is in Slido, and yeah, see where everyone's coming in from. So what we're going to be looking at today is, how to go from leads to loyalty. So that's the goal of marketing, right? We need leads, and then we want them to become loyal clients in the end. And that is what we're going to be showing you in today's session. So let's have a look at some introductions. Anthea, I'll hand over to you.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks Intuit for having me along today, and hello everyone, it's really good to be here. Before we kick off though, I just wanted to run a quick poll and see how everyone's currently ranking their own marketing performance. So while you've got Slido open saying hello, we'll be running a poll through there asking you how you rate your current marketing performance. So number 1 is rank amateur, not doing any marketing, don't feel confident. Number 10 is elite professional. So we'll give you a sec to give your star rating, and we'll see how you're going. But yeah, thanks again for having me along.
How'd you rate yourself, Anthea?
I don't think I'd rate myself a 10. There's always improvement to make, don't you reckon?
I think so. No one can be a 10, right? But
no. While we're waiting for those results, we might jump onto this slide, Matt.
Yep, cool. So I think we've missed let's go back one, sorry. Good artists copy, great artists steal. So quote from Pablo Picasso. I really like this. I probably say this once a day. Anthea will attest to that, is that there's no original marketing ideas in the world. And if you think you've come up with one, then I would run a mile personally, because it's probably been done before and done better. Rather than coming up with new things, I would always advocate you do something that's been proven to work instead. And there are ideas for marketing campaigns all around you. I know that one of the biggest things that we get told by accountants and bookkeepers is they just don't know where to start when it comes to marketing. And what I'm going to show you is there's ideas all around you. You've just got to know where to find them, and then you go and steal them. And actually what we're going to do today is go one better than that. We're going to give you the stuff to steal. So we're going to show you some stuff about marketing, but I actually think I prefer, and I'm pretty sure you prefer as well, really practical stuff which you can just take and do. So we're going to be giving you a whole bunch of our resources away for free. So maybe if we wrap up the poll there, have a look at those results before we move on to the next slide. Maybe we should just move on anyway. So at Bizink, what we're trying to do is help accountants and bookkeepers with the entire marketing journey. And on screen, you'll see a framework that we've created after working with something over 2,000 firms in the last decade. And what we tried to include in this framework is to show that, it's not just about growth, right? People often think marketing is just about leads and new clients. It's not. It's about marketing to existing clients and keeping them loyal. So we've got these 5 stages: the planning stage, which is obviously important, and then these phases, which is what the typical journey is of a client through your firm. So you've got to attract people to your firm, you've got to engage them, convert them into paying clients, and then obviously the goal is to retain them for as long as possible. And what you'll see with those kind of little dots around that diagram is the kind of things that happen around each of those stages. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. So what we find is that nobody tends to be doing all of these things at the same time. They might not be doing any of them actually. And if they are, they could probably enhance in each of those areas. So what we'll be covering today, look, we've only got a short session and we couldn't possibly hope to cover all of marketing, but we're going to cover some of the key elements. We're going to give you lots of stuff you can steal, like I just told you, so you can take away and use in your firm. So things like an email template for asking clients for referrals. And we'll be sending those out as an email after the session. When that comes out, you'll get a link to our whole playbook. So we've got a whole playbook that fits with all of these stages, and we give away lots of free resources and guides that's going to help you with marketing. And if you really want to take this further, Intuit are putting on another workshop where there'll be a deep dive into creating a marketing plan. So Anthea and I will be running that session. It's a much longer session, and we will really go deep on creating a marketing plan. So that's later this month on the 21st of February at 10:30 ADT, and that's a 2-hour session. So that is one to do if you find this one useful and you really want to go further. So my goal of today is to give you, I always like to have a goal at the webinar, and Anthea is going to keep me accountable to this at the end, so we'll check. So I want you to have a think about this. I want you to take away one marketing tip you can action this month. So that's my goal, is to give you that, and we'll check back in at the end of the webinar to see if I've achieved that.
We're going to run another poll now, so you'll see this again in your Slido screen, asking you if you have a marketing plan, and the options are yes, no, or I'm not sure. So maybe for some people that have one in a drawer somewhere from years ago, that might be your answer. If you don't have a marketing plan, though, don't feel too bad. Most firms don't have one. We research. We survey accounting firms across the world, and typically the results show majority operating without a marketing plan. And I think that's what's coming through in the results already as well. That's often what we see. You do need a plan to stay on track, though. If you want to do successful marketing, a plan obviously helps you know where you're going, what the end goal is. It helps keep everyone accountable to that, and do the activities they need to do to achieve success, whatever that looks like for your firm. And it also helps you delegate to other team members as well, which I would expect is, it's going to be quite hard for you to do all the marketing activities yourself when you're dealing with clients and running a business and all the rest. And as Alan Dibb says, we'll reference his book a bit more in a second, it helps you avoid random acts of marketing, just doing bits and pieces that you saw other people do or think might be useful. If you don't know where to start with a marketing plan, though, Matt's just mentioned the in-depth session we're going to be doing later in February, but we do also have a free marketing blueprint template, which is the basis of this session today as well. So we'll talk through it a bit more in a second, but we'll be sending that template out as a resource after this session as well, as we've mentioned. So I'm just going to talk through the different parts of the marketing blueprint as well. Matt, did you just want to mention how we came up with this and where this came about?
Well, I think it's evolved, hasn't it, over maybe not quite a decade, but a number of years where we've worked with firms and tried to find the best way to create a plan that's detailed enough that it works, but simple enough that it actually gets done, because no one wants to do that big Word document that kind of sits in the kind of proverbial drawer and never gets looked at again. So we've created a planning format which has got like a strategic element, and that's based on the one-page marketing plan, which is a book by Alan Dibb, an Australian author. It's one of the best-selling small business marketing books on Amazon.com. I really recommend checking it out. I think it's the best book on small business marketing that there is. I've had some really good feedback on that from accountants and bookkeepers. So Alan has kindly allowed us to use the format which we've got on screen here. And this is the strategic part of it, which is Anthony's going to break that down a little bit for you. And then the marketing blueprint, which I say you'll get that after the session. It's also got a tactical plan in there as well, and some metrics, because you're all numbers people. You want to know how to keep score. What does success look like?
Yeah, as Matt mentions, it's got a few different parts to it. So there's the strategy bit, which is more what's on screen here. We've broken that into 3 sections: prospects, leads, and clients, which is kind of every stage of the marketing funnel or the journey, just like we were talking through in that leads to loyalty slide. It's every stage there. So strategy is going through who you're targeting, who you actually want to work with, how you'll attract them, nurture them till they're clients, and how you'll keep them as well as loyal and happy clients. And then there's an execution section, so what activities you'll be doing, broken down into a 90-day action plan, and then a scorecard, which will take you through a bit more in detail in just a second. But it just shows you how you can track your marketing and see if it's actually working. So you can see there's 9 different steps. We'll go through this a bit more in detail today, and then obviously in depth in that upcoming session too. But I just got one more question for you as well on this stage. So do you have an ideal client that you focus your marketing on? So you can see that box number 1 there speaks about your ideal prospect and their pain points. So knowing who your marketing and your website and your firm is actually for. The options are yes, no, and not sure as well. If you do have an ideal client, can you please use the Q&A tab just to let us know what that is? I'm interested to see who you focus on. We've got clients that specialize in, well, Matt, you've probably seen all sorts. We've got one that specializes in churches. I think couples going through divorce and that sort of stuff as well. There's interesting niches out there. There's people with very particular pain points too. So I'm very keen to hear who you're focusing on as well, or where you're up to in that journey.
Quick question as well: are we able to see the poll results? Because it might not be just me, but I'm not seeing the results. So it'd be awesome if we could see those. But yeah, I'd love to know what niche you're focusing on if you do that. And
sorry, Matt, I'll just jump in. If you're just doing these marketing activities without a focus, so like I'm talking about those people, majority of accounting firms operating without a plan, like I said, you'll be doing random acts of marketing. So sometimes we call this a scattergun approach, right? You're trying to hit anyone and everyone. You're open to working with whoever will pay you money, right? But you'll usually end up not attracting anyone. It's usually a waste of money, unqualified leads, price sensitive people, typically not the type of clients that you'd like to work with, because you don't have the understanding of what they really need and the messaging that's going to reach them. So we're not going to get into too much more detail today, but you do need to focus your marketing. Hopefully I've convinced you on that point, and I promise the remaining parts of the marketing plan will start to fall into place once you work out who you're going after, where you should market, what platforms you should use, messaging, like I've mentioned, all that sort of stuff really stems from who you're going after. I promise it gets a lot easier after that. But if you are still struggling, and in the spirit of Picasso, like Matt mentioned earlier, we're going to be sending out a free document to help you define your ideal client a bit more. So Matt's just going to work through that and break it down for you on screen now.
Yeah, so this is what we call an ideal client persona. Some people might call it an ideal client profile, often abbreviated to ICP. And what we're trying to do here is build up a picture of that ideal client, because like that last slide, if you're marketing to everybody, you're kind of marketing to nobody. It's really important to have that focus and laser in on that. And that doesn't mean you can only work with a certain type of client, but as a marketer, it's just way easier to know. If you know a lot about a person, you can know where they hang out, what they're interested in, and that's going to guide the things that you're going to say to them. What their pain points are. And so this document that we'll be sending afterwards just helps you build that out. And maybe at first, you can't fill in all of the sections in this, but over time, we've talked about, I've been working with accountants and bookkeepers exclusively since 2010. You get to know a lot of information, and that becomes really, really powerful over time. And I'm sure some of you know that, really intimately with some of the kind of industries or verticals that you work with, and that's really going to help you guide your marketing. So Take a look at this after the session. It's pretty self-explanatory how it works, and try to build that out for the type of client you'd love to work with. So I'm hoping you're all numbers people, right? I've asked that question before with accountants and bookkeepers. A couple of people told me they weren't, which was a bit worrying. But when it comes to marketing, what are the numbers that really matter? And I think in our kind of modern digital marketing world, we've got numbers coming at us from all angles, right? But there's actually only a few that really matter, and stuff like website visitors, Facebook followers, and LinkedIn likes. What we call those in marketing is vanity metrics. So what I mean by that is they don't really mean anything in terms of a business result. Maybe they can correlate to that, but often you could have a big spike in website traffic. Maybe you've just got some Russian bots have been visiting your website or something like that. So it doesn't mean anything. And marketing is about making money, right? At the end of the day, that's what marketing is doing. We're not doing it for fun. We're doing it to grow our business. And so you need to know which metrics really matter. And in the marketing blueprint, the format that we've shared with you, there's a scorecard so that you can track the metrics that really matter. And the best metrics are those that drive action, in my opinion. And so let's have a look at, some of the metrics on there, what I would call growth marketing metrics. So when we talk to firms, most of them say to us that they, in terms of any given month, they would really like maybe 1 or 2 new clients, in terms of A-grade clients. That's what they could handle. So let's run with that for this example. So you can see on screen, if you're looking for a couple of clients, then what you need to do, right? How are you going to get those clients? You're going to have meetings with them. So we're trying to put this into the real world. Clients just don't come out of the ether. We're going to have meetings with them. So that's the thing that we can put down. So we look at what the conversion rate of meetings to clients is. Now, we track ours at Bizink, we track that over a 12-month rolling period, and it's about 40% of the sales meetings we have convert to clients. Now, I think it's probably a little bit higher for you as an accountant or bookkeeper. Let's call it 50%. So if you want 2 clients, 50%, obviously that means 4 meetings you need to do every month to get you that result. Now that's fine, but how do you get the meetings, right? So they don't just come out of the ether either. You're going to have to do something to get those. So you're going to have to get leads, and we're going to talk about ways to do that shortly. But so we look at the conversion rate there. What's your conversion rate of leads to meetings? Now, that's a number that a lot of firms don't know. They often know their sales meeting conversion rate, perhaps not so much this one, but let's call it 5%. So then we've got a really concrete thing, which is that we need 80 leads in any given month to get that result. And so what those metrics are doing, they're driving action, they're driving things that we can do in the real world. So, easy enough to say 80 leads. What's the best way to get them? That's the hard part, right? Is actually getting the leads. And that depends, right? That depends on your niche, time, budget, skills. There's a whole bunch of things that come into play there. So for example, the best way to reach graphic designers might be Instagram. For tradies, it might be, a meeting in the pub, which is what one of my clients has done in the past. So the actual way to get leads can vary a lot, but the framework to do that is always the same, right? And this is what it is. First of all, you've got to attract people to your firm. So how do you basically get strangers to know about you? What are those activities that drive that awareness? Then you've got to engage those people. So as you'll know, it's not like e-commerce, selling accounting or bookkeeping. It's a long marketing and sales cycle. So you've got to engage those people. We might call them leads. So you've got to get them to like you and to trust you. And that's known often as nurturing. And then you've got to convert them, right? So you can do all of that piece. You've got to attract them, engage them. You've still got to convert them into paying clients. So what's your system for doing that? So we'll look at that in the context of your website shortly. But if you want to do a deeper dive after the session, we've got a marketing performance audit, and you can take a look at that and have a look at where the gaps are in your marketing kind of strategy and your leads funnel. And we'll share that with you after the session. So I'll just move that on and back over to you, Anthea.
Yeah, well, like Matt's been saying, if you're wanting to grow your firm and, through new clients, and we've just broken down the numbers, you need 80 leads, you're wanting 2 clients, there's a very important role your website plays in that. And the humble old website is still the center of your marketing world. And having helped build over 1,500 websites now, probably for firms across the world, predominantly in Australia, we're going to share what we've learned along the way about websites that help you generate leads. Before that, though, the most important function of your website is pretty simple. And because I expect most of you are going to be getting your new clients through referrals, let me know in the chat if that's fair for you as well. But that's sort of what our research shows too. That means the main aim of your website will be to seal the deal with those referrals. So we find that if someone's been given your name or your business card or whatever it is, they typically still Google you, and often they end up on a team page or an About Us sort of page, maybe doing a little bit of stalking to see who you are and what sort of firm you run and all that sort of stuff, even if they don't really know that they're doing it or what they're looking for. So it's really important to have those sorts of details and your personality shining through the site as well. But your website also does more than that, of course. It can be a place for your clients, your contact details and how to get support, that sort of stuff. Also, useful information like upcoming tax deadlines, key dates, and the like. It can also house your best content like blog posts and deep dives, how-tos. And of course, the best websites help turn visitors, traffic into leads, so interested prospects as well. So we'll talk through that a bit more in a minute. But if you do want to see how your current website is working and get some feedback, after the session, we'll be sending out a couple more resources on this. So a website checklist, so you can run through and see what we would suggest you put on your website or have there or how it should work. Plus, you can also request like a full and free website audit where one of the Bizink team will actually go through your website and give you feedback on that. So we'll send out the links for that afterwards as well. But we're talking about lead generating websites just for a sec here. Probably only a tiny % of the people browsing your website at any time are going to be ready to engage with you. It's just how life is in this profession. So that means that your timing is going to be essential. And we all know that people buy when they're ready. So a good website is going to help capture people that are ready now. Making sure you have a call to action, an easy way for people to, book a meeting with you and that sort of stuff. But it's also good to have something there for those people that aren't quite ready. And you need to be able to capture that gap of people that are browsing but not quite ready to pick up the phone and call you. And the way you do this is through what we call a lead magnet. So like a magnet, we're trying to attract people to give you their contact details mainly. So you need to give away something of value in exchange for their contact details and typically an email address so that we can send them some more information. So an example of a lead magnet like we've got on screen here is an ebook, which is a pretty common example most people would have seen around the web. So you're offering something. This example is for a client that specializes in a niche as well, in construction. So theirs is really specific to what they're going through and their pain points, and the same thing we'd recommend for you if you're creating one. And the beauty of this is it's gated behind a form. They fill in their details, like I mentioned, to access that piece of high value content. And it helps you build an email list. So again, most of our research and from chatting with our clients shows that most firms don't have a prospects list at all, or a very big one, a list of potential clients that they're talking to and nurturing. So it's a great way to build that. And once you have people on your list, particularly ones in your ideal client niche, you can keep keep in touch with them, and you can keep nurturing them, as we mentioned, with more good content. And again, a humble email newsletter works really well here. And the main goal of this is to be top of mind when that business owner is ready to talk with you, when they are ready to switch accountants, because it's likely they'll already have one that they've probably been working with for years. So make sure you have those sorts of tools on your website to help you attract visitors. Over to you, Matt.
Thank you, Anthea. Oh, let's go back on. Thanks for everyone for sharing the niches that they're working in. So some really interesting ones there. Yolandi is working with real estate agents and property managers, and I think that's a good example where you don't just have to focus on one of those. It's more that kind of industry and related services around that. So I think one of the things that people worry about when they talk about niching down their marketing is that they're not going wide enough, but plenty of real estate agents, plenty of property managers out there, and you're better to appeal really strongly to them than really weakly to lots and lots of people. And it can, it's what we've done as a business. We've niched the whole business, but even if you just niche down your marketing, I think that's really powerful. So thanks to you all for sharing those. What I want to talk about now is Andy's been talking about what you need to have on your site to convert those visitors into leads. But how do you get visitors to your site in the first place? This is a topic we could talk about all day, but I think there's a few key ways that I would be focusing on. And the first one is probably the one people think about a lot, which is search engine optimization, or SEO, as it's probably usually called. And that's a huge topic, and it's kind of niche even for marketers like us, right? It's quite a specialist thing. So I always find it a little bit odd when, accountants and bookkeepers are getting deep into that themselves, because it's quite hard to do, right? But there are some real simple basic things you can do. The first one will be to get your Google My Business profile optimized properly, and we've got an audit for doing that. We'll be sharing that with you. I'd highly recommend doing that because there's a big flow-on effect there. So first of all, it's going to help when you show up in those local searches. It can also help you get ranked better, and then we're going to talk about reviews, Google reviews, a little bit later. And we've also got a complete guide to SEO we'll be sharing, so if you do want to take a bit of a deep dive into that, we'll be sharing those resources with you. So trying to optimize for search engines and get some of that traffic is a really good thing to do. I think people probably overrate how powerful that can be, but it's still something that is definitely worth optimizing for. It's just probably not as a big a deal as it is for certain other industries, like say e-commerce. The next place I'd be looking to try and drive traffic from will be social media. Millions of people spend hours on social media every day, right? We all know that. How do you reach them? So my opinion on this is that, social media, 2 words, right? A lot of businesses are focused on the second one, media, and they've used it almost like an advertising channel, and they just pump out marketing content. Nobody wants to read that, right? You don't want to read it. Your clients don't want to read it. It doesn't get traction. And that's not what actually the social media sites and the algorithms are looking to promote. The thing you've got to do is focus on that social aspect of social media. So making connections and building community. Far more important to do that than just pump out your marketing content. So we've got a guide on that too that we'll be sharing with you. And the final thing that I think drives traffic to your website, look, there's other things you can do, but I think the big key ones, SEO, social, and the other one is that word of mouth side of it. So referrals, which every firm relies on, that's a huge part of every firm's growth is those referrals from happy clients, but also from online reviews, which we're going to have a look at next now.
So if you remember the marketing blueprint we were referring to with 3 stages, prospects and leads and then clients, we're up to this client stage now. So we've spoken through, making sure you have that plan of an ideal client and different things you can have to attract and nurture them. there's obviously a very important part here with existing clients too, and making sure that you're keeping them happy and keeping them loyal and all that sort of stuff. And we often say that many of our accounting and bookkeeping clients are sitting on a pot of gold with their existing client base too. So I've got another question for you that you'll get through Slido. Do all of your clients know about all the ways that you can help them? Yes, no, or not sure? So you may have done a really great job of talking through all your services when you had that first initial consult with the client, but maybe they weren't ready for them at that time, or maybe you do offer payroll but they didn't have employees then, or something like that. And I know that if a client comes to you, you'll have a chat to them, right? But there's still a lot you can do about being proactive and letting clients know about the extra services that you offer and other ways that you can help. And that's because the best source of new revenue is actually old clients. It's a lot easier to start a conversation that you already have a connection, a relationship with, often a very long-standing working relationship too. I really do believe most firms are sitting on a pot of gold here. So we're going to talk through 3 different ways that you can make the most of that pot of gold, getting more referrals, just by asking for them really, and we'll talk through and hear from you guys what you're currently doing. Reviews, so that's basically just word of mouth at scale, and also upselling and cross-selling to them as well. So on to the next slide, we're going to be talking about asking for more referrals. Like I mentioned before, most of you are probably getting a new business through word of mouth, and whether that be client referrals or others in your network and that sort of stuff. Obviously, it's a great source of new clients. Often those people are very warm when they come to you, more obviously quicker to book a call and to chat with you. They have a certain level of trust with you because someone has recommended you. But it does have its pros and cons as well. It might not be the type of client you were looking for, your ideal client. It's just whoever your client has referred. It might not be the type you like to work with or the type of work that you like to do either. But it is, I guess, easier in a sense that you just service your existing clients and new work can come through the door without too much effort. So I just want to see though if you can use that Slido Q&A to let me know, what do you currently do to get more referrals? Are you doing anything? Nothing is an option. You can let us know that. And I would say there's plenty of people doing that and still getting referrals. Like I said, most of the firms we work with are very caring people that keep their clients happy and offer a good service. So, new work can just come through the door like that. So I'm keen to hear what you're currently doing. Some of our clients offer a sort of incentive type system. I don't think that's personally, required. It could work for you, like discounts and that sort of stuff I'm talking about to incentivize those coming through. Personally, I think maybe a thank you or a surprise thank you is more thoughtful, I guess, and you can make it really tailored to that client. If they're interested in, a certain restaurant or mountain biking or whatever it might be, you might get a gift that's really particular to them. And you might also offer, we have clients like on screen, they offer like a referral program. I think they do a bit of a discount around that, but they've got a page on their website to make it easy for them as well. So if you're currently doing nothing, like some people are, we'll be sending a template. It's an email template you can use to approach clients. You can pick and choose who you send it to, particularly maybe those in your ideal client bracket already. I'd recommend start with them. Feel free to edit the template, but at least it'll get you started with approaching clients for those things. Next, we'll be talking about asking for reviews, the second recommendation we have on the client stage. So I'll leave this with you, Matt.
Thanks, Anthea. And we all love referrals, right? Like it is the lifeblood of most firms' growth, but what if we can do that at scale? And one of the ways that we can do that is with online reviews. And I think this is something that's quite underused by firms. I've seen a few firms who do it really, really well, but generally, I don't think firms look to do it. So a couple of ones we're going to look at. First one is Google My Business. Like Google reviews, people say as well. And as we said earlier, that kind of Google My Business listing is a key asset for your firm, because if you think about the places people are going to find you online, We obviously think of your website. Google is a huge destination as well. And the first thing they're going to see probably is that Google My Business listing. So that's where, you see the map and some details about your firm. And you can even add things like, there's photographs in there, and reviews get attached to that. So having good reviews there is going to make you stand out. It does help with your search ranking. I mean, Google will not admit that, but our SEO person says it always does. It's pretty commonly held that is a really good ranking factor, is to have good reviews. So, you think about it, someone searches for an accountant and bookkeeper in your area, there'll be a few firms probably bump up depending on how big an area you're working in. And like, people are looking to choose, right? Like, who are they going to choose? The one with no reviews, or, you've got 10, 50, 100 5-star reviews. One of our clients has 200 5-star reviews, which is huge, right? Like, it just is what we call social proof in marketing. It's a really powerful factor in people trusting you. So I mentioned that guide that we've got. We will share that with you. You can audit your Google My Business listing and optimize that. We're going to talk about how you get reviews in just a second, but the second one is Facebook as well, right? So basically, Facebook is the internet for some people, right? Like, some people, I've just had my in-laws here, and my mother-in-law spends, I don't know, about 6 hours a day on Facebook. If it is like more time on Facebook than in the real world. So Facebook is kind of like, it is the internet for some people. So having your Facebook page, your company page there, even if you don't post a lot of content, is kind of important. And even better, you've got some reviews on there. And when you've got those reviews, there are ways to pull them back into your website, like we've got on screen here. And again, it's that social proof that reinforces why people should work with you, because it can be hard to differentiate yourself, right? Like, as an accountant or a bookkeeper, we all know that story. But having this social proof, it really reinforces your value. Now, you can wait around for people to give you reviews. In my experience, you could be waiting a long time. You have to give people a bit of a nudge, and so we're going to give you some email templates after the session for sending to clients to ask them to give you either Facebook or Google reviews, or both. And they're ideal for sending to people like after a successful project, perhaps once a year after tax time, something like that. So we'll be sending those out, and you can use those to try and get more reviews, because they're a really powerful way, like I say, to get word of mouth, but at scale. Okay, so we know that many of your clients don't know all the ways that you can help them, right? We ask this question all the time of our clients, of people we're speaking to, is like, do your clients know about all the ways you can help them? Almost always the answer is that they don't. So if you can help your clients, right, like, and you need to let them know about that. And the clients you're going to help the most are going to be the stickiest clients. Someone who's just got one small thing that they get from you, versus somebody who's using a lot of different things. You're helping them more, they're way stickier clients. So one of the kind of simplest ways to get a marketing calendar built out is write down, the extra services that you offer, add-ons, upsells, or cross-sells, however you want to talk about it. And write those down on a piece of paper. So let's say there's six additional services on top of your core services that you offer. Write those down. Let's say one of them's payroll, something like that. Get a calendar out, okay, we're in February now, so February through to July, and then write a service into each of those months. There's your marketing calendar. Send an email out to clients saying, hey, did you know we also do this? And like I say, we're giving you loads of stuff to steal. There's some email templates that we'll be sharing with you for doing that. So I think it's one of the easiest ways to get a marketing campaign and calendar planned. List out those services, put them out for each of however many months, and send an email on.
I think this could be a good quick win for most of you on the call today. I can see 41% are not sure if your clients are aware of the ways that you could help them. So this could be a really good place to start. Again, it can be a bit daunting starting with some of the new client and the prospect sort of stuff. There's a lot more to think about there, whereas your existing clients is a really good way to start and get some quick wins. So if you're not sure, if your clients know, then it's likely you could be doing a bit more to communicate that. So get started with that template as well, just to jump in there. We also do have a marketing scorecard. Sorry, I'll just go back one. Like we referenced earlier, will be coming out after as well. We've got some great feedback on this. It's going to rank how you're currently doing. We ask you a few questions, and importantly, it's going to give you quite a few more ideas on what you could do and some tailored resources on where you might be weak. So just a few more questions in that scorecard after, and you'll get a whole wealth of resources coming too. So I just want to ask and use the Q&A chat panel to answer me if you don't mind. Did Matt achieve his goal? Have you got one marketing tip that you're going to action this month? Hopefully that that one I just mentioned could be a good quick win for you. I really hope that Matt has, we've given out a lot of different stuff today. There's probably a lot. We've tried to keep it very high level. There's a lot to cover, but hopefully you've been able to grab one thing that you want to go away and learn. And while you're doing that, I'm keen to know what you've found useful from today. So again, feel free to use that Q&A panel to let us know your biggest learning. Was there something that, maybe a light bulb came on for you today? Feel free to fire that into the chat and we can chat about it more in a second. Just remember though, we do have a marketing workshop where we'll do a real deep dive onto this, like we said, a longer session, 10:30 a.m. Sydney time on the 21st of February. So feel free to register for that. QuickBooks we'll be sending you an email to register for that as well. Just forward it for you, Matt, and you can talk through the competition we've got.
Yeah, thanks. So I hope you've got enough to get started on your own plan today. You'll get that marketing blueprint after the session and start filling that out. But what about if one of the experts in my team wrote a plan for you? So there's a chance here to win a workshop, and then we'll create a strategy, action plan, and those metrics that we talked about. We'll set those specifically for your firm and help you create a really winning marketing plan. So to enter it, what you need to tell us in 25 words or less is what's your biggest challenge or frustration with marketing, so your biggest marketing challenge right now, let us know in just a few words, and you can win that package. So the value of those normally is $699, and you'll win that with a couple of my team. We'll work through that and create an awesome plan for you. So you can enter it intuit.me/blueprint. We're going to send the link out as well, so don't worry about typing that down really quickly. We'll send the link out. And you'll get a copy of the webinar as well. We'll be coming out a recording. So now if you do that competition, we'll be using the marketing blueprint as an example in our workshop on the 23rd of February. So as long as you're happy to share a bit of the under the hood stuff about your firm, then go for it, because that's a really awesome prize, and I think it'll really help you kick off your marketing in 2023. So thanks for listening. We are going to stick around now for questions. I'm going to hand you back over to Grant, and we'll be back for a Q&A session. So if you've got any questions, keep firing them into Slido, and Anthea and I will stay about to answer them for you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Anthea. That was fantastic. I guess picking up on what Anthea was saying around working with your existing clients, it's really important to remember that growth doesn't have to necessarily come from attracting new clients, as important as that is. But you are probably sitting already on that gold mine with your existing clients, and deepening your relationships with them, taking on additional work from your existing clients it's an ideal growth strategy. Now, that can be through the provision of services that you already offer, or by adding new services like payroll. In our Growth Hub, if you've seen it already, you'll find a bunch of great resources on there that looks at both options. So there's tips and guides like this ebook to help you build a profitable payroll offering at your firm and to grow your business. Now, this ebook helps understand how STP Phase 2 really represents an ideal opportunity for advisors, the opportunities that adding a payroll service stream provides, and what to look for in choosing a cloud-based payroll solution, as well as tips from advisors who have built a revenue stream with payroll. You can download it free from that Growth Hub, which is at intuit.me/Growth Hub. Now, on the Growth Hub, you'll also find that ebook on making payroll profitable, along with other ebooks, webinars, and tips that can help you grow your business. The Growth Hub is really designed to support you in growing your firm and achieving your goals, whatever they may be. You'll find some other guides on there that can help you find more clients, add new revenue sources, and really build a future fit business that's in line with whatever your goals are for growth. Now, if you want to find out more about marketing by email or social media, about building a website, the Growth Hub features a ton of helpful guidance on that. It includes links to a range of guides from Intuit MailChimp as well, and covers best practices that you should consider when you're developing your marketing plan. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground today. I can see there's a few questions that have come in, so we're going to jump into some Q&A now. So if you do have questions for Matt and Anthea, or about MailChimp, or about the Growth Hub, anything we've covered today, drop them into that Slido chat panel in the bottom right of your screen there. You might just need to scroll down to see it if you haven't used it yet, and we'll get to as many as we can. So let's jump into Q&A. I'll bring Matt and Anthea back on, and I'll bring up the questions that we've had come in, and we can kick off. Right. So Matt, just kind of going back to Google reviews, I might jump in. Obviously, it's a little bit fraught. You're opening yourself up to feedback, and feedback is always a gift. But what do you do if someone gives you a bad review, a negative review that's out there for all the world to see?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think that, first of all, you've kind of got to look at it with, probably take a pause. That's the first thing, is not jump in and react emotionally to it. Just like the same as if you got an angry email from a client or something like that, it's best to answer dispassionately about it. The second thing is to look at it really as an opportunity to, look at it as an opportunity, right? So the first thing that you got to do is you can't get it removed, right? Like Google aren't going to remove it because it's a legitimate thing. So like that, you can't get down that defensive path. You've got to just meet it head on and respond, right? And so, often in that you can either respond in Google, so you can try that and say, hey, sorry you've had a bad experience, and try and act, we kind of act magnanimously and try and resolve it that way. Sometimes then, there can be a bit of back and forth, and it actually what looks like a negative review can turn into something more positive. The other thing is to just reach out directly to the client, right? Not to try and talk them down and say, take it off or anything like that, but it's just to try and resolve the situation that way. So I think, I've seen firms who've got, like 100 5-star reviews and a few really bad reviews. And in a way, the bad reviews, almost like the way they respond to them, it reinforces the good reviews, because you can see, it's more the exception than the rule. So I think, they're a fact of life. It must be rough if you're like a restaurant business and you're getting that stuff all of the time by people who are quite unreasonable. But you've just got to try and act magnanimously, kind of respond to it, maybe resolve it with the client outside of Google. But just make it the exception rather than the rule.
Brilliant. Thanks, Matt. We've got one. I'll touch on this and then I'll pass over to you. So we've got Bala, who said they've got a challenge with getting new QuickBooks Online clients. They need some assistance and direction to help achieve their goals there. And Bala, I hope you got a ton out of today's session, some really great marketing ideas on how to attract clients to your website. And I think when you do have them on your website, it's really important that you've got a page on there that talks about your services with QuickBooks Online. And obviously, I work for QuickBooks, but that's true of any accounting platform. You really need to demonstrate to those clients that you understand the accounting platform that they're using, that you can help them work with it. If you offer training, onboarding services, things like that, outline those services on there so that they know that if they're using a particular platform, that they can come to you, that you're an ideal choice for help. So, Matt and Anthea, I'll open it up to you. Just, I guess, in terms of that page that speaks to website visitors about their accounting platform, that's something that you've seen and worked with?
Yeah, do you want to take this one, Anthea?
Sure. We definitely create a QuickBooks online page for our clients that partner with QuickBooks, and would definitely recommend you feature that on your site, as well as, you know, partner logos and that sort of stuff can go throughout the site. So that is for all our website packages. We recommend doing that. Obviously, it can help just reinforce your expertise and that sort of stuff as well. With your original question about, you know, assistance setting goals and direction and that sort of stuff, I'd recommend you enter that drawer we set as well, because if you let us know your biggest marketing challenge, then we might be able to help you with that marketing blueprint session and chat one-on-one about who you're going after, what that ideal client is for you, and where we might be able to attract them as well. Again, you might get some quick wins with chatting with some existing clients too. Did you have anything else, Matt?
Yeah, just maybe something quickly on that. Would be, it depends where the traffic comes from, right? So like if you're getting the advisor direct, like the traffic is coming from, you know it's related to QuickBooks, and that is super important to send those people not to your homepage, but a specific landing page, so people have searched for that. It's really important not to give them just your homepage. It's a different scenario if someone comes in, because normally people's pain point isn't software per se. They've got a problem in their business, right? Like, so then, the software is, it's secondary, right? It's not secondary to the solution, but it's not the problem. Like, so I think there's two different ways that comes in. If you're getting traffic that's coming from the Intuit website, you've got to have that landing page that's really specific and talks about how, all the benefits of QuickBooks and that you're an expert in it, like you said, Grant. But also that, if leads are coming from other places, it's really important to work out what those pain points of the business owner are, because it might not be technology at that point that's the right thing to talk. That might be part of the solution, but that's probably not, like, the business owner, they've probably got a challenge around something else. And so it's important to ask those questions to find that piece out first.
Definitely. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Anthea. And Bala, I guess one other point is that we do have the Find a Pro Advisor directory. So if you are a member of the Pro Advisor program, you can build out a profile on there that helps speak to existing QuickBooks Online users, and they're out there actively looking for a new advisor to help them with their business. So definitely have a look at the Find a Pro Advisor directory. You'll find it in QuickBooks Online Accountant under Pro Advisor Benefits, and you can build out your profile and start generating leads coming in from QuickBooks Online users. We had another question on which is the best marketing platform to use when marketing for new business. And I'll hand this over to you, Matt and Anthea. I think the answer is probably the one that's right for your business. There's a ton of marketing platforms out there, from Intuit, MailChimp to HubSpot, and they all offer different value to different size firms. So I guess you've probably worked with a lot of firms when they are choosing a marketing platform or choosing a platform for their website. How do you kind of step them through that process?
I mean, the answer to like most marketing questions is like, it depends, which is really unsatisfactory, right? But what I'd probably say to try and bring this to a high level is that the thing that really matters is understanding who you're trying to sell to and sending them something that matters to them, right? Now, they don't care if you sent it through, they don't care what it came through. And I think that one of the things that we see accountants and bookkeepers get stuck in a little bit, maybe it's a procrastination thing or whatever, they get stuck on the technology piece. And technology isn't going to solve things like who's your ideal client, how to write a good email. ChatGPT won't solve that for you either, by the way. You still have to do some thinking on that as well. But basically what I'm trying to say is that there's lots of good platforms out there. MailChimp is an excellent platform for sending emails, but at the end of the day, if the right email gets to the right person, they don't care what you sent it through, right? You know, and you're still gonna have to end up talking to them, and it's still gonna be about people at the end of the day. So technology is really, really important in marketing, but it's also, it only works if you've got your strategy, your messaging, and all that stuff sorted. So I think that's the bit I would focus on. Then technology can be the kind of the catalyst then to do more marketing and to do kind of more efficient marketing. You still got to do that kind of that strategic piece first.
Awesome. And one final one before we wrap up. Going back to the referrals piece and how important referrals are. Do you recommend, or do you work with firms that have offered incentives for referrals? Have they seen success with that, or is it something that you'd advise firms to maybe steer away from?
Yeah, I think, Anthea, you touched on that earlier, so maybe you expand on that a little bit. Hey?
Yeah, I think you got to think about the reason that people refer you to other people. It's because you've done good work for them. They're happy with the relationship you've built together over the years, the help you've provided, the results you've got, that sort of stuff. And maybe the reason they refer is because they value that and can see that somebody else could use that help too. I just personally don't. I'm not sure if the incentive is the right reason, or if a bottle of wine or a $50 gift card is really almost cheapening that in my mind some ways. I mean, for some people that's going to be what they want. I would just get to know your clients individually and send something more like a personalized thank you. This is coming from, me chatting with plenty of accountants and bookkeepers and seeing what they're doing and what works for them as well. So that's probably more just my personal opinion on it and what I've heard can work. You can definitely create more of a referral program, and like I said, make it easy for people to give those referrals, whether that's directing them to a form on your website, or asking them to send an email, or whatever it might be. Yes, I don't think it's an essential. Yeah.
Great, thanks, Anthea. So we are bang on time, so we'll wrap the webinar up there. Now, Matt and Anthea talked through a ton of resources today and mentioned that you'll get those by email. So I've seen these resources. They're really practical. They guide you through everything they've spoken about today. So definitely watch out for your email, where you'll receive a copy of today's session. You'll receive all of those resources they've talked about. You'll also have more information about this workshop that's up on screen, where Anthea and Matt are going to be back doing a really deep dive, really practical session, kind of stepping through a lot of the content that they've talked through today. So watch out for that email, and definitely, if you're keen, register for that email, where they're going to do that real deep dive, hands-on, practical session. So looking forward to that one. Anthea, Matt, thank you so much for your time in preparing for today and coming along and spending an hour with our advisor audience. To everyone who's come along, thank you very much. Hope you got a lot of value out of today's session. Definitely visit the Growth Hub. You'll get an email linking to that as well. You'll find more resources on there as well. And thanks to the team behind the scenes for helping us pull this together. Enjoy your Thursday. Thanks, everyone. Thanks very much.
Thanks, Graham. Thanks, everyone.